Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk. Mike and Leanne Nicholson, Jen and Steff Brouillette. Just if this is your first time watching, we're real estate investors, and we like keeping it real. We like talking about all the real stuff that goes on in real estate. Leanne and I have 10 doors currently, 6 in Ontario, 4 in the US, and we're looking at expanding more and more in the US. And we like talking to everyday people who are in the real estate space. Jen and Steff, they have 10 doors currently in the Sudbury area, 10 doors out in New Brunswick, and most recently a couple of doors in the US, and they're really looking at expanding there. So, Jen, I'll let you introduce our guests and talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Right on. Thanks, Mike. Like Mike said, we're all in the real estate investing space, and we really love the concept of keeping it real and talking about the really great stuff that happens and the really not so great stuff that happens. And our guest today has probably experienced a little bit of both. Everybody, this is Tristan Ritchie. So Tristan is a real estate investor from Sudbury. He's also a realtor who works with the same brokerage as I do. So we do bump into each other at the office periodically. And I love chatting with Tristan because he and I are doing very different things with our portfolios. And we always have these great conversations about real estate investing and how it doesn't really matter how you're doing it. You can still make it work and make it work what your priorities are and what your perspectives are and what you're looking to do with your portfolio. So welcome, Tristan. Thank you so much for giving us some time this afternoon. And I can't wait to hear more about your story. Now, I know what you kind of have going on from the times that we chit chat when we bump into each other, but we would love to kind of hear what started you in real estate investing and kind of where you came from that got you to where you are now.
For sure. So thanks, guys, for having me on. I've been looking forward to it. It's always fun chatting real estate and investments. And it's cool what you guys are all doing in the States. I haven't looked into it enough, but I'm looking forward to chatting more about that, like in the office and whatnot.
He wants us to do it and figure it out, and then he's going to do it after to make sure that we did it right.
Yeah, I'll let you guys make the mistakes, and then I'll do all the good deals. Where I got started was my dad has always been investing in real estate. Not a huge amount, but he'd always have 6 to 10 doors kind of thing. And I would go along with all his appointments and learn from him. And when he kind of explained the concept of refinancing and OPM, so using other people's money to buy an asset that's making you money, I just was like mind boggled. And the refinancing process where you can pull your money out, do it again, like it was just like, it was just, to me, it was like a no-brainer. It's like, why wouldn't you do this? This is the fastest way to grow your wealth, in my opinion. So I got into my first property when I was in university, rented it to university kids, made a couple $100 a month and lived on the upstairs unit for free. And eventually got into real estate because I thought if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well get in the business because Dave was my realtor at the time. And I just looked up to him so much. So he's like, just get your license. So then I did. And now I just love helping people do it. And I'm just trying all sorts of investment things now.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about, like, what does your portfolio look like? Like, whatever you're comfortable sharing. I know you have some commercial stuff in there. You have some residential stuff in there. You're doing fix and flips, and you've done BRRRRs, and like you've got all kinds of cool stuff going on. So take us through a little bit of what you're experienced in.
Yeah. So I have a couple duplexes that I added units in the basement when the city of Sudbury allowed you to add a legal second unit and not when it wasn't R2 zoning. So I started doing that. I did one legally. I did one that I didn't go through the city, if I'm being honest, since it's real talk here.
Yeah, 100%.
I did it up to code. I just didn't want to have the length of an extra 2 months when I did 2 deals with that money that I made in that time span. So I have a few of those, and I have been doing a lot of flips lately. Just if the right deal comes up, I love doing it like with friends. So I've done some with my in-laws, a couple with my friends. And like, I don't want one more phone call in my life. So I've been doing it with them, one to help manage the whole thing. So I just say, call me when it's done. Yep. And the other thing is just their smile on their faces when they make $15,000, $20,000 is like the best part of it. You know, like you're just winning with your friends, with your family. and they're just, it's the best when it's that way. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately. And I do have one commercial one. I didn't close on it yet, but
Okay. That was the one we were just talking about the last time I saw you.
Yeah. So basically just bought it to put up a billboard. It's in a great location, but it breaks even. But I'm saving $1,000 a month to have a billboard in a location like that. Yeah. So, and then eventually when there's turnover, of course, then I get a little bit higher rents. So that's pretty much my portfolio.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. And I love that you've got a little bit of everything, right? So Mike, Leanne, any questions or comments about that? I think there's a ton of stuff there that we could
talk about. I love that commercial side too. Like, is it a net zero property, or is it there's so many different options with commercial, and is it kind of just running itself, and like you say, it's saving you $1,000 a month on advertising, and any other benefits to having that commercial property?
No, basically just the location is the reason it's been on the market for a little while. It was it was super cheap. 280,000. It sat there for a while because there is not much parking. The person in the back is a charity, so the rent is really low, like half the price that it could be. Although you can write off a charitable donation. So basically this property just breaks even, but the $1,000 a month to me makes it a viable and effective investment. And down the line, it will be higher cash flowing. And obviously owning real estate in this market, you just want to own as much as you can, in my opinion.
And that's interesting how you say, again, different ways to look at properties, right? We get so focused on, I guess, looking, hey, does it cash flow? Does it cash flow? Here, you found a solution where there's a property that, maybe breaks even, but hey, I can save $1,000 a month, right? That's that creative thinking and looking, how do I use this property? The market's tight. Maybe the market's tight, but instead of generating revenue, I'm saving an expense, right? So fantastic. It's neat to hear that.
And it got me thinking, like, do I do that? Is that kind of my strategy now? Do I do that more? Do I buy maybe houses on super busy streets where people aren't paying as much because it's a super busy street, but I throw up a sign? I did it on one of my clients' properties and I pay them $250 a month. But what if that's kind of like my strategy? Because that's a little bit of, like, right now it's hard to find cash flow in a property, at least in Sudbury, right? You're just above breaking even, a couple $100 a month if you got a decent property. But if it has added value, then to me, it's still worth it because I can put a nice big billboard or something.
Yeah. And that's why I love going to the office and bumping into you, because we have these conversations, right? And it's a really creative way of thinking. And like Mike said, maybe you're not cash flowing, but you're saving yourself $1,000 in advertising, which might bring you in, 4 or 5 or 6 deals. And all of a sudden you've got all this commission money from that sign that you put up on the house that's not making you very much money. Right. And so the circle goes. And I think that is so cool. Like, I think that's a great way of looking at it.
Well, hopefully I get some calls on the sign.
Well, and you know what? It's better to, and I mean, how does it not, you will eventually. And that's the thing, right? Like you're going to get more with the sign up than you will without the sign there. Like, with no sign, there's no calls. Like, that's just how the math works.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But the exposure is there, and that's fantastic. And you want to be busy. So, I mean, and you're just kind of like, bring it all on. And you kind of do everything that helps you roll that way, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. It's a lot of fun.
No, it is. And sorry, Leanne.
I was going to say, so you're into the Sudbury market. Have you thought of expanding outside? Are you quite content with the Sudbury market, or what's your thoughts on that?
That's an awesome question. And I would love to be in other markets, but in my mind, I'm kind of thinking I have a certain amount of money to invest. And being a realtor here, I just know the market so well that to me, like, when the right deals come up, I jump on them. The last 3 flips I bought were sight unseen because I just know it was like such a good deal. Even if the worst case scenario happened, which it did in one of them, the foundation was bowing, I still made a great profit because I just knew it was that good of a deal. So I know there's other opportunities. Jen, you guys have been invested. You just said you're looking in the States. That's awesome. And
I mean, too, like, and it's a preference thing too, right? Like, the lane that you're in, Tristan, like, if you don't have to deviate from it, why? Like you've hit a sweet spot where you're got really great momentum, and you, like you said, you're busy. You know the Sudbury market better than almost anybody I've ever talked to, so you can do that and be super successful at it. Like, whereas we're more of like an overview, right? Where I don't want to have to spend that much time and energy on one place because there's lots of other things going on. Plus, you're a lot younger than we are. You know what I mean? So your perspectives are different. You know what I mean? Like we're in that 10-year crunch where it's like, okay, in 10 years, hopefully the kids will be gone and will be kind of doing their own thing. Steff will be retired. We can kind of flex a little bit more of our time. And we want the location freedom and the time freedom and the financial freedom to do that. And you're a long ways away from those days, right?
Yeah.
So and I think that's kind of part of it too, right? Is it kind of plays into where you are in life. Like, and we're just in different spots. Like our kids are almost grown. Tristan's a new dad, right? So it kind of changes your perspective and your mobility and your drive, right? Because you're kind of doing it for different reasons. Not that one reason is any better or any worse than the other reason. It's just different.
The next place I do want to look, if you guys know, is a vacation property. Whether it's Jamaica or like Spain. I heard Spain has decent opportunities right now.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't looked overseas yet, to be truthful. That really hasn't hit our radar. We've been too busy in Florida and we're kind of looking a little bit in Costa Rica and Florida has so many different markets that are doing so many cool things. It's easy to kind of get lost in the markets down there because there's just so many. But yeah, it's like, I remember somebody said an expression once, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Like it's like, you can't get enough and it's so much all at once. But it's such a great market to look at. So, but overseas, if you jump in there first, then we'll wait for you to make the mistake.
I hear there's lots of opportunity in Spain and Portugal, also Costa Rica right now. One of our kind of goals we were focusing on the U.S. Because we'd like to spend some time there, obviously when it's cold,
like today.
But we find, if we can generate U.S. funds, U.S. money it's like the global currency, right? If we're generating Canadian funds from our real estate, by the time we bring it over, to Europe, that U.S. dollar carries a lot more value than the Canadian dollar, no matter where you go. And it's, I don't want to say it's a superior currency, but it's universally recognized. You're going somewhere, you're changing your Canadian to US because they accept US over there. So that's where, we're growing our US portfolio, and that'll allow us, that money and that freedom to maybe travel later on and have that US money to support our lifestyle later on and our freedom later on.
I think you just convinced me to invest in the States now.
And it's true. And US cash is king. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like everywhere we go, it's easiest just to do it in US currency because everybody takes it. You know what I mean? And it's worth so much more than ours is.
That's why these conversations are awesome, because I wouldn't have thought of that. That's
right?
That's a great thing. So you're building up your bank account, your US funds, your US borrowing power, and then you can use that to buy overseas or anywhere,
wherever, right? Like whether you want to get into like tropical Caribbean stuff, or we've looked lots at Costa Rica in the last couple of months and see what they're doing down there. And just because US currency, it's just simple, it's easy, and everybody takes it, and it's worth more than ours. So I know for us, like we've got 2 places in the States now, and really until we have a corporate filing, I'm afraid to spend the money because I don't want to do something wrong and bring it back and it not be taxed properly or be double taxed because we've brought it home. So I'm not super knowledgeable with that part yet. So it all just sits there, like whatever cash flow we have coming in from the places in the States. So it builds up the bank account like really nicely. You know what I mean? It kind of pays for itself, and everything that's sitting there, we're fortunate enough that right now we don't have to bring it back to pay for anything. It's just kind of sitting there and growing. So the longer we do that, the more position we're in to do something with it.
Let's talk about it in the office next time. I get on these things when I hear something like that, and now I'm going to be obsessed with it until we talk about it.
It's great. I'll come in for coffee this week for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right on. Okay.
You're the one that should be taking notes.
I am. Yeah.
Mental note, eh?
Oh, definitely. That's super cool.
Okay, Tristan, what's the one piece of information you wish you had 10 years ago?
Information. I wish I knew that acting quick is like the key to everything. It took me too long to do everything that I'm doing because I was just scared, and everyone is.
Yeah.
Right? You're always scared to buy your first property, then you're scared to buy your second. The market's going up, like, so you're scared now because the market, like, am I too late? The market's so high. But looking back on it, all that's just a waste of time that I could have been way further ahead by now. So
and when you talk about that one property that had the wall that was bowed in it, I'm sure even knowing that there was a bowed wall in it, you mitigated the risks.
Mm-hmm.
You knew it was such a great deal, and having the knowledge that you do have, you were able to figure out that you were still going to be able to, or you had a good exit strategy on that property.
Exactly. That was the point.
Knowledge is definitely key in this game.
Yeah, 100%. And I really do like what you said. And I think we've all been there, right? At the beginning, everybody feels like they wasted time being afraid, right? Being afraid of all of the things that could go wrong, being afraid of paying too much, being afraid of just kind of the world falling in. And all of a sudden you're out all this money that you've likely spent all this time saving. And Mike and Leanne and Steff and I, we've had this conversation repeatedly, right? It's that action taking, and just to kind of, you mitigate the risk, you educate yourself the best you can. Yeah. You surround yourself with people who are better at what you're trying to do than you are, to kind of learn from and grow from. And that action piece is huge. And then you just do it, right? Whether you're scared, whether you're whatever, it's like, it's almost better to do it and maybe do it a little bit wrong, because you'll learn better that way and you'll learn faster. And then next time it becomes that much more simple.
Now I'm a little bit the opposite. I do it and then figure things out after. So maybe I might bite me in the ass at some point, but
and you know what? We've done that our last couple of jumps in different ways. It's like, we know that we just need to do it, and we figure out most of it as we go. And because we've done it so many times now, it gets easier to do that, but we still kind of make sure that we have an overview of where we are and what it costs and those kinds of things. But a lot of it is really thinking on your feet and kind of looking at situations and saying, yeah, you know what, we're going to figure it out, because we're surrounded hopefully by people that are smarter than we are.
So I'll say here that in the next 6 months, I want to buy a place in the States.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Good goals.
So in 6 months, we'll have you back and we'll have a chat and we'll see where you wound up.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Now the pressure's on.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do it. That's awesome.
Right on.
And I think it's important to mention too, is as you build your portfolio, you're able to forego some of the comfort, your comfort level in pulling the trigger on a deal. And you're able to, with your knowledge that you've built, forego some of the apprehensions of jumping into a market or doing something different than you've been doing in the past.
Yeah, that's very true. And I feel like the more you have a little bit, like the more you can like sustain one loss. And like what I've been thinking lately is I'm just going to do as many as I can. Like, and I'm just going to know that one of these I'm going to lose, right? One of my flips, it might not turn out quite the way I want it. Okay. I might lose 5, 10,000, 20,000, but then you got to do a bunch of them to get to that one. If it ever happens, but hasn't happened yet. So
no, and that's kind of, we've looked at our portfolio like that a lot, especially as we're getting into something new, going, well, if this goes wrong or if this happens, we have this other stuff over here that's kind of cash flowing really well, that's going to make up a little bit of the difference if this new one isn't great at the beginning, or if we're buying based on potential and it's going to take 6 months or 12 months or 18 months to get it where we want it to be. We have that other piece over here that will be the buffer to make sure that you know what, everything gets paid for.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the key to your success to this point? Is there one single thing or a combination of things?
Social media.
Really, it's true. Tristan's huge on social media, and we'll talk about that as we're wrapping up, how people can find you, because you're everywhere.
Yeah, so I got pretty lucky when I started. I joined Dave's team, and the first thing he said was, I wasn't busy. I didn't have clients. And he's like, start making content. If anyone asks you a question, write it down, make a video about it, because that's probably a question that other people have. So in Sudbury, we still weren't caught up on the videos yet. So luckily Dave like pushed me to do it, and I was making them. I was super uncomfortable. Like I was like, okay, do I look funny or whatever? And I didn't really see results for a year and a half or anything, like maybe a few people here and there. But then now it's just, I get two texts a day from Instagram.
Yep.
So it's good to help feed my team, help myself if I need more clients. And so it's really growing. It's positioned me as the expert, even though I wasn't the expert when I first started, right? But now just and explaining things helps you understand things better, in my opinion. So like me having to figure out how do I word this video to explain to other people, I'm doing research and I'm understanding this topic a lot better because of that. So now I really enjoy sharing what I learn, I guess you could say.
Yep.
That's probably what's helped me the most, and I enjoy it. Yeah.
Good. And I'm so glad to hear, the words like get out of your comfort zone. And we do a lot of videos on the mortgage side, right? We send out weekly videos to our realtors, with tips and tricks. And, sometimes we record them and, we go through it and, hey, just send it, right? Do we listen to it? Sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't. And interacting too, we do a ton of videos with our clients, introductions and happy birthday videos. And it just that social media really engages people.
And content offering, like helping, right? Like
Exactly.
Yep. How do you create value?
Yeah, giving value.
And that's a Dave phrase. And Tristan and I both work in the same brokerage, so we've listened to Dave forever, right? And that's his shtick, right? Is how do you create value for the people that you're working with? And that's exactly what social media offers today, right? And I mean, it's a different gig than it was 2 years ago, just because it's so relevant and it's so out there, and everybody's got access to it. It feels like. And I know that that's where so much lead generation comes from. So, and I mean, Tristan and I are in a bit of a different bubble that way, right? He's very busy. I'm very not busy. And it's because both of us want to be that way. Right. Yeah. So, but no, it's incredible the amount of value that you can put into videos and social media, and the crazy amount of people, like the reach you have through those platforms, and the number of people that you reach and that you share your stuff with is incredible. Like it just, the numbers blow my mind.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it is. And you've been doing it for so long, and Tristan now has a really great team. So he's got helpers that just kind of smooth the edges, right? Not that it wasn't smooth when I first met him, but it's significantly smoother now that he's got some great admin help.
I'm not the best speller out there.
And not everybody is, you know what I mean? But your stuff on social media is really engaging, and it's easy to listen to, and it's easy to watch. And I love that you're building your team with people that are putting out really great content.
Yeah, that's a requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like Mason's stuff. Mason's another guy that's working for Tristan. He's so young, but his content is my favorite. And I can't get enough of what he's putting out there, because it's just for me. And I'm also a realtor. I've got access to the same information, but it just creates so much value for me because it's just a different way of listening to it. And I love that. So you know what, you're doing great work with your team, and you've got a great following. So I can't wait to see what comes next.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Right on. Okay, so we're in a COVID situation, right? Pandemic. There's travel is open, but not super open. If travel and money wasn't a barrier right now, and it was kind of unlimited and easy, where would you go and why?
Probably go to Australia.
Yeah.
I don't really have a why. That's the place I want to go to.
Oh, that's too funny.
Never been that far, so it'd be cool.
Has anything ever gone wrong for you, Tristan? Like, do you have a regret in a project? I know you've done lots. Just in the couple of years that I've known you, you've had a lot of different projects. What's gone wrong?
My first ever rental property, I had students, and I had 4 of them living in the basement apartment, and they were paying me $500 each, except one of them. He kept saying that his OSAP was coming in, and I believed him, right? Because I was asking other friends of mine in university. I was like, "Oh, is your OSAP in?" They're like, "Oh no, it's delayed." So I trusted him, and then he left for Christmas and never came back. So he owes me $3,500, and I message him probably once a year when I just come across his profile. Like, you still owe me $3,500, just so you know. And I went through the whole process of garnishing his wages. Like, I thought I had to, right, just to learn at least. Yeah. I knew I probably wasn't going to get my money back, which you never do. But I went through the whole process, and I actually garnished his wages, got one check for $205 or whatever, and then he quit his job. And then I found out I have to redo the whole process to garnish his wages from his new employer. So I was like, that's not even worth my time. So I just said, whatever, I'm just going to keep renting it the way it is. But that's probably honestly, that's my worst thing that's happened. And I'm sure we've all had a flooded basement. So that has happened as well to 2 of my properties.
I think
Northern
that's part of the
Ontario,
real
yeah.
estate.
I was going to say.
Yeah, or Sault Ste. Marie is not going to be that different either, right? I think wet basements kind of go with the territory.
When I tell people that they're starting to invest in real estate, I'm like, man, when it rains or in the spring thaw, like I'm a little bit nervous, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So Jen moved us into lightning round there. So let's go into
sorry,
lightning round.
I went through the list and I
That's
overstepped
okay.
a couple of the questions.
It's okay. It is what it is. That's how we roll around here. So Tristan, we're going to go into lightning round. So we're going to ask everybody's going to ask 2 questions of you, and just your first gut instinct, your first response, quick, easy, done. Okay. Okay. So I'll start it off. If I gave you $1 million and you had to spend it right now, how would you spend it?
Buy the biggest building I could.
Yeah.
That's true. It's exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
100%.
Who do you consider the most inspirational real estate investor, and who do you follow?
Ooh, I'd have to say I follow quite a few of them. Rise Group, I'd have to say. I'm part of the Rise Group. There's a lot of people in that group that I follow that are doing great things. Just be careful because a few of them are in the hot water right now. Or not from the Rise Group, but from social media investors.
Yeah.
So just know who you're following and don't get caught up in it.
Yeah, there's been some interesting stuff in the news the last little bit, but
Yeah.
that's part of the game, right? You got to, even though because somebody's successful, you still got to really vet them, right?
Oh, yeah.
And look at those projects and look at their numbers and make sure it's making sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And you know what? We've never really talked about that before. I apologize for interrupting the lightning round, but it's true. We all follow a lot of people on social media because that's how you follow it, right? And what the legitimacy is of everything is kind of tough to tell sometimes because it's easy to make everything look amazing all the time. So that's a really good point because I think there are a lot of people out there that get taken advantage of that maybe don't vet well enough or strong enough or whatever to kind of ensure that the people that they're investing in or investing with are legit, right? And that creates a lot of really bad situations.
Due diligence.
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, go with your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, true story.
Tristan, what is your HGTV show?
I couldn't name one, honestly.
No.
Do you have time for TV? You've got a new baby. Like, is there even time for TV at your place?
Oh, there's time. I've never had cable in my life.
Oh,
Seriously?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. Just when Netflix came out, that was awesome for me. But yeah, my parents, we had the bunny. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Tristan's got bunny ears on his TV.
Scott McGilvery or something like Love It or List It or something. I've seen like one or here and there, but I've never like. I know.
I think what we were getting at there was, do you watch any flipping videos like Flipping Vegas and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I watched them on YouTube.
That's your next bit of content. Is maybe you're going to do like a little episode show where you're like flip or flop.
That'd be awesome. Man,
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work for sure. And you know what? Your admin team might not want that much work.
I know.
True story. Okay, so Android or iPhone?
Oh, iPhone.
100%.
Oh man, yeah. I when I put an ad out for my assistant, I said you have to have an iPhone.
Yeah. It's got to go blue in the text. It can't go green.
Yeah. So she bought one when she got hired.
Oh, that's funny.
Right on.
There you go.
That's
When I
hilarious.
put that question down, Leanne said, really? I'm like, yeah, some of those, I flipped over to Apple about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I mean, it's nice. Mostly I did it because of my kids, right? It was just more convenient. It took me a while to learn it, but I'm learning like these Apple people are, it's like a cult.
Yeah.
We're crazy, right?
Yeah.
I know we're hardcore Apple people too. Everything talks to everything. It's easy. right? It just
Just
makes
so much
sense.
nicer looking at blue messages. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's it.
All right.
100%.
If you didn't get into real estate, what would you be doing right now?
Running some sort of business. I would have to be self-employed. I don't know what it would be specifically. The stock market, maybe. Doing my own moves there or something, but that's all I can really think of.
All right.
So there's an entrepreneurial spirit there for sure.
Yeah.
You don't strike me as the kind of guy that would ever get locked in to like a 9 to 5.
No, I couldn't. Too much energy.
You strike me as the type of guy that your success is only limited by your own, I guess, parameters.
Yeah. I aim for higher than I can hit.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get there someday.
That's what goals are, right? And that's there's always steps to take to get there. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so wonderful. Okay, so before Steff will do a little bit of a wrap up. But how do we find you? And I know this is such a funny question because you're everywhere. But I noticed you have a
neon sign behind them.
I was going to say the sign behind you. I saw that's new.
So why don't you real talk?
Yeah, let the listeners know where they can find you and how they can get a hold of you if they're looking for some real estate investing chit chat or some realtor advice or anything like that. How do we find you?
So I'm pretty much on every social platform. Most of my content on Facebook and Instagram. A little bit on TikTok, but also I have 2 different YouTube channels for investing in Sudbury and just living in Sudbury or moving to Sudbury. So those are the main places you can reach out. I'm pretty good at answering my messages. So if you just want to have a quick chat or if you're looking to invest, you can reach out to me and the team.
That's so fantastic, Tristan. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I really appreciate this, guys. That was awesome.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for being a part of everything today. And I know that there are so many people listening that are going to gain so much value just from kind of your experiences and where you've been. And I can't wait to see where you're going next. And it almost makes me want to come back to the office more often just to kind of chit chat and see where we're at. And yeah, I can't wait to see what comes next.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us in Real Talk for real estate investing. It's been a pleasure, Tristan. Lots of good information. Hopefully we can generate some buzz and have some people reach out to you for more information and tap into your YouTube videos and your content that you have out there on the social media. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping it real.
Yes. Thanks for keeping it real, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Right on. Bye-bye.